All right, thank you guys. So this is part 2. So I don't need to introduce myself again, I don't think. But anyhow, I'll spend some time today talking about our wastewater submersible pumps, so our solids handling pumps that we have to offer. Again, informal. If you guys want to talk about your challenges, I'm going to kind of talk about challenges and how we can help address challenges with lift stations and solids handling pumps out there. So again, I'm Britt Nybarger, and you guys hopefully know who I am by now. But anyhow, this presentation I think is out on YouTube, so you can have my contact information. And Gasfoda is also the distributor for our wastewater lineup as well. So we didn't kind of talk about this earlier. So who is Grundfos? Grundfos, number one pump by units sold, the number one pump manufacturer in the world. Also quite a large motor manufacturer. When you think about it, we produce a lot of our own motors ourselves. So we're a pretty large motor manufacturer as well. 75 years in the pump business and 19,000 employees across the world. So we don't just make pumps, we make controls, we make monitoring, we make remote monitoring, we make package systems, so we make inline booster systems, so we have clean water and wastewater covered, and of course we make software tools as well. Just some of the lineup that we do have. Earlier we talked about the DDA, so our smart digital lineup. We're pretty well known for well pumps, both municipally and the residential market as well. We carry the Pt.2 brand of pumps, so that's your split cases, in suctions, vertical split cases as well. We make the Grundfos CR pump that we can turn into a hydro MPC. 6 pumps on a skid. And we also make, we talked about the CR, we just talked about that. And we also make, we didn't talk about earlier in our previous presentation with dosing, but we make dosing skids as well. So we can do simplex, duplex, we can do custom skids, all through our custom skid, which is GES, Grundfos Engineered Solutions. And this is just some of the lineup. We make mixers. We make mixed flow, axial flow pumps, so flood control pumps. We can do up to past 100,000 GPM per minute on flood control. So we do 72-inch diameter flood control pumps. So we have quite a large lineup. This is just a kind of a brief showing of what we can do. So what we'll cover today are some of the challenges, how we can address those challenges, how our pumps can address efficiency and minimize downtime. We'll look at a case study, and we'll talk about some of the pumps that we have to offer. So a few fun facts: 241 million Americans rely on our wastewater systems, and that's expected to increase by 2032 up to 23%. 2032. And of course, if you follow politics, there's an infrastructure bill out there. But anyhow, $271 billion is what's the estimate for needed infrastructure and improvements across the United States. So maybe I'll ask you guys, so challenges. What are some of the challenges, like when your pump's clogged, you're pulling them out of a lift station, what are they clogging from? Is it, what's the biggest thing you guys see? Washable wipes. Right. Swiffers. Yeah. Flushable wipe seems to be, in my experience, kind of the biggest thing from clogs. So what about any other maintenance items that, you know, are kind of issues for you as far as pulling pumps, clogs? Seals? Okay. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, let's talk about some of that and how we can help address that. So let's talk about how we can maximize efficiency and minimize downtime. So let's look at the lineup here. So the first in the lineup is the SEG. So let me just back up. So we have, this is kind of the complete lineup of the pumps. We'll go through kind of each model or horsepower range as we go through here. So the first model is our SEG. This goes up to 5.5 horsepower. We have single phase and 3-phase. A couple of the cool things about this does have a plug-and-play cable. So it can be detached. You can pull it out of the wet pit, set it to the side, take off the cable by basically a pair of pliers. We have a kind of a special tool, but basically a pair of pliers and a flat-bladed screwdriver, just pop it off. So it's kind of like, you know, just like an outlet here at the house or here in the office here, right? That's one of the kind of cool features, premium cutter system, and then an adjusting nut to reset the impeller clearance on your grinders. So this is your, you know, obviously smaller flow, higher head stuff. The SL, so the SL is up to 15 horsepower. It's meant for wet pit applications. Same as the SEG, same as that smaller grinder. It has the plug-and-play cable. It comes with, we have a few different designs of impellers. So we have an S-tube impeller, which is, I'll show you some of that here in a minute. And then we have a super vortex impeller or a vortex-style impeller, which is good for you know, very fibrous material and gritty material as well. We do have an upgraded wet end on that, and I will talk to you about that. It's called the Mark II hydraulic end for the S-tube. And again, one of the other things we'll talk about is this belly band across here. The SE is 12 to 42 horsepower. It can be dry pit or a closed loop cooling system, what we call the smart trim system on it. And that can have a variety of impellers as well. We'll talk about the different options that are out there. And then we go the big boys, the S pumps, which are 42 to 650 horsepower for your large applications. Again, wet pit or dry pit available there. So. Yeah, so. Yeah, so for instance, even the SE, the SL come with the SE for sure. They can all be different voltages. The SE comes with a power cable that's already 230, 460, so it's just a matter of, it's not a different cable, it's the same cable. So that's kind of one of the features and benefits on that as well. So let's talk about some of the features here. Let's talk about what we call the S-tube impeller. So the closed S-tube, we have a closed S-tube, which is meant for high efficiency. It has no bends in the impeller. It has no leading edges. So it's a good all-around impeller. It's been the mainstay of our product for the past 15 years. High efficiencies, flat efficiency curve. So when you do slow down a pump on a VFD, you track, you keep your efficiency high. It's not got a super bell-shaped efficiency curve, so it's pretty flat. It's what we call wet balanced, which leads to lower vibration and longer pump life, longer seal life. longer bearing life on that. And it has low MPSH characteristics because of the lack of leading edges on that. We have just released recently is the open S-tube. So it's available in cast iron. It's available in white iron. So white iron is a hardened iron material. And it's also available with a guide vein. So you can see this guide vein coming up into there. This is specifically designed for extremely high content wastewater that has high content of fibers. So we're talking about those flushable wipes. The closed S-tube can handle that as well. But when you have extremely a lot of fibrous material in your wastewater, this is what this open S-tube really excels at. It is a semi-open impeller, so it has an upper shroud, but it doesn't necessarily have a lower shroud. So the closed S-tube is more of an enclosed impeller and has that lower shroud on there. The open impeller also has an ability to operate across a broader performance range. So when you're talking about going to shut off on a pump curve all the way down to carry out. So I've got a few videos on this, on how some of these things look. So this is the closed S-tube. Again, we like to refer to the closed S-tube as like a natural extension of the pipe. So let's see if this will come up for you. And normally there's sound, but anyhow. I don't know how to turn up sound. Do we know how to do sound, maybe? No? Let me go back. Huh. Yeah, that's what down, where at? Yeah, okay. Anyway, you see what's going on. So, 3-inch, oh crud, I just hit the wrong button. I apologize, guys. Here we go, try 3. It's Friday. Is it the weekend yet? All right, promise I'll get it going here. So you've got your suction. Let's see if I can point out a few of the benefits. So no leading edges. This is a single vein. Got your suction coming in. 3-inch non-compressible solids. We do go up to, I think, maybe even 6-inch. So there are wear rings. You can't really see it here, but there's grooved wear rings. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. And there's also grooved casing right there to help shred up fibrous material. This is cast iron. So anyhow, that's pretty much it. Oh, you got it. I don't have it. I don't know. But anyhow. So that's the closed S-tube, okay? So keep that in mind. Let's talk about what the open S-tube. See if I have a quick demonstration. This is just some test results that we've done inside the lab here. So you'll see this is basically a large plastic bar. Let's repeat that. So this is a large plastic bar here. We're going to show this vein, this guide vein, as it's going through this open S-tube. It's basically going to be demolished. And basically what we're trying to show here, over time, you might have something like that come through, right? Like a small piece of wood, a large white plastic bar, whatever it is. Anyhow, you can take basically a pump that normally wouldn't pass something like that, and now it does pass something like that. So anyhow, so that's the open S tube. And that's, it's got this guide vane as an option as well, so that's in there as well. Again, meant to really pass those fibrous type of wipes. And then talk about the super vortex or vortex impeller. This is kind of standard. It's meant for lower flows, higher heads. Basically, what the vortex impeller is, does everybody kind of understand a vortex impeller concept? So basically, that impeller sits high, rides high in the pump casing. So it doesn't sit down low where we're talking about a traditional impeller, like maybe, say, this impeller, right? This sits high in the pump casing. It's recessed. So it actually, in theory, it never really touches what you're pumping. So it creates kind of a tornado type of effect. And that helps to pass heavy solids through pumps. Downside to this type of an impeller is it's just lower efficiency, so higher horsepower. But it does, it's got even more non-clogging ability to it. So
that's the impeller you want for the rags, masks, and
yeah, it kind of depends on application. This is really good for sandy type of material, really fibrous stuff, really fibrous stuff. But again, the downside is a little bit less efficiency. So. And then on our larger pumps, on the S pumps, so 42 horsepower and above, we have a channel style impeller. These can be single, double, or 3-channel impellers. These are trimmable. And yeah, so self-cleaning impellers with these as well. Let's talk about the SL. Are there any questions on impeller types as I'm going through this? So our SL pump, which is 1 to 15 horsepower, has the Mark II end. A couple of the benefits of this new improved hydraulic end is the impeller has a threaded ring here, so a threaded sealing ring here, and then it has another threaded, almost casing ring on the pump housing as well. So that helps to chew up fibers and prevent clogging of the pump. And then also on the pump casing, you'll actually see we've actually machined in more threads right here. So these threads don't actually touch the pump impeller, excuse me, but they do help to keep kind of self-clearing, self-cleaning abilities, I guess, if you will. So let's talk about that before was what we called the smart ring system. So it's a threaded sealing system. It's got those 3 different kind of areas of threads. We'll talk about the smart trim system. So this is an ability, so if you have a dry pit pump or even a wet pit pump, if you have a dry pit pump and say you did get a clog, or say you see let's back up. So say you see lower efficiencies over time. So as these pumps wear, I've got a video that kind of shows it, but as these pumps wear, your gap in your between your impeller wear rings and your casing ring starts to grow. So that lowers efficiency. It can increase your amperage draw out of your motors. And also, when your gap grows, it increases your chances of clogging a pump. So we have what we call a smart trim system, and this can all be done externally to the pump. So this is really advantageous, especially in dry pit applications. You don't have to pull the pump. You can do this with hand tools and keep the pump connected to its piping. Sorry. So, and this is all done through some set screws and some jacking screws. So there's basically, you kind of follow the O&M manual. but there's these jacking screws that lift, or take that back. So the set screw actually lifts the pump casing off. And then you have these fastening screws that kind of keeps it set. And I'll kind of show you how this works on a video here. Let me show that to you. So it brings those impeller clearances close. Right. So this is the pump running. Over here are where those fastening and that set screw is. And this is located on 3 different spots around the pump casing. So we're kind of demonstrating here, pump efficiency over time, like any pump, does lower, and the impeller and clearance increases. Okay, so we're going to zoom in here. So over time, this gap increases. I mean, it's just wear and tear on any pump, right? So you've got that gap there that's going to lower your efficiency. Now we're going to zoom back in here. We're going to zoom in here and show this gap. We're going to cinch this up with some hex keys or hex keys. And that's going to bring your pump efficiency back up. Does everybody kind of follow what I'm trying to teach here? Okay. So that's the smart trim system. The plug-and-play cable, it's used it's the same plug for 230 or 460 volts, so it's the same cable. You don't have to worry about, if you got to change the 230 or 460, it's the same cable. It's a stainless steel housing, hermetically sealed. That's got a polyamide type of treatment inside that cable. So if you look at a cable, there's literally like almost like an epoxy, not a rubberous material inside that cable, so that if you do get a nick on the cable in the wet well, moisture is not going to get in through it and get into the pump. There's O-rings on this, and there's also grooves on there. So there's kind of a locking ring that gets threaded into there. So you undo that locking ring, pop it off, and then there's grooves in here to where you can put a flat-bladed screwdriver and just pop it off, and it pulls out. So, and it's indexed, so it's for airproofing. So it's one way in, one way out. You can't plug it in the wrong way or whatnot. This saves you, a lot of time of maybe having to undo leads from a motor or actually pull cable back, through conduit, undo it from the control box or from the control panel as well. So what I'm trying to say is you don't have to, when you have to work on these pumps, you don't have to transport 50 or 100 feet of cable in your pickup truck that weighs a couple hundred pounds and you're trying to throw that in the back of your pickup truck. A couple other cool things. We talked about seals. This is on all models is a cartridge shaft seal design. So it's a one-piece shaft seal. It is a pretty quick change-out, 15-minute change-out once you have kind of the components off the pump and changing that seal out. It's a couple bolts, and then you put some, you can either put like a bearing puller on there or just pry it off with some pry bars or some even flat-bladed screwdriver, really. So that's all stainless steel housing, silicon carbide faces on that. On our smaller pumps, we offer what we call a belly band or a stainless steel band. So this is the ability to basically separate the pump casing from the motor housing. So you can work on the pump a lot easier. You don't have to have a bunch of different bolts and tools. This is all just popped off with a flat-bladed screwdriver, and it's just like a clamp, right? So it makes working on the pump pretty easy. We do offer sensors. So as standard, it comes with 3 thermal switches, 1 per phase. It comes with a leakage sensor in the bottom of the stator housing and then also a moisture switch at the top of the motor housing. So there is, and I don't know if I show it great here, but there is a moisture switch up here, and then generally a moisture switch down here. We do have the ability to do custom sensors. So we have what we call the water and oil sensor. So it'll feed back a signal back to your control panel and be able to tell you, over time, you might start to generate water in your oil. So this will tell you, hey, I've got 5% water in my oil. I've got 6%, 7%. So you can kind of plan your maintenance ahead of time. So you can track it and say, okay, in a month from now, I might be 7% or I might be 8%. So it helps to prevent a little bit of downtime, right? So where you don't all of a sudden just have a seal fail and you've got to pull the pump. So that's kind of what our water and oil sensor is all about. These motors are built with premium efficient motors, premium efficient components on the motors. So high efficiencies, IE3 premium efficiency, short rotor shaft, so a shorter shaft, excuse me, helps to eliminate vibration. Eliminating vibration helps your bearing life, helps your seal life, just kind of helps overall efficiency, so less drag, so less weight, all that. So the shaft end is a duplex stainless steel, so it's got good corrosion resistance as well. So we do offer a complete lineup of accessories. We do have auto coupling systems, base stands. So we can do dry pit vertically mounted. We can do dry pit horizontally mounted. On the large pumps, we recommend to do kind of a concrete pedestal. I mean, those are the big pumps. But we can do horizontal stands as well. Like I said before, we do controls and motors. So we have controllers that can do anywhere from simplex, duplex, up to 6 pumps in a lift station. So we have what we call the CU362, which will do anywhere from 2 to 6 pumps. And that can all be tied into what we call Grundfos remote management as well, which is an internet-based service that you can remotely tie in to your control panels and monitor and control pumps there. We'll see if we can't, this may not go super well because I couldn't figure out volume. But anyhow, we'll just kind of talk about this. So we had a municipality in the Texas area that had clogging of pumps, right? So we were able to install 2 SE pumps. And this is the SE pump, which is a closed loop cooling pump with the enclosed S-tube impeller. 2 of those, able to lower maintenance costs by 61%, eliminated the clogging. Basically, the labor savings paid for itself in a matter of 6 months. So before, the municipality was pulling pumps, every week trying to clear out clogs. So anyhow, just, we've got a number of case studies out there that we can show you and kind of demonstrate some of our abilities there. So I went a little bit fast, but so why Grundfos? It's meant for toughest applications, ease of maintenance, ease of service, customizable. We can be connected to Grundfos remote management, and we are FM approved. So what questions do you guys, this is, I talk about wastewater pumps, I think, all the time in my daily life, and they're always, municipalities just, always have issues. Do you guys have things or issues or concerns or questions that you want to talk about with pumps? Like, what's your biggest challenge with solids handling pumps? Besides clogs? Efficiency, power, electrical consumption, cost? Is there anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, we got the best operators. We never have a problem.
Right. What's the craziest thing you've seen clog in a pump? 2x4, a snake? A snake? Wow. No dead bodies or anything? Yeah. Teeth? Oh, how did that get through? Sheesh. Wow. The biggest thing I see is just wipes. Like, just, I don't know.
How many masks do you guys see get flushed down nowadays since COVID? You guys have masks clog your pumps all the time and chop right through them?
Diapers. Yeah. Do you guys do your own service work, or do you hire some of that out, or large of it? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Grundfos actually, they have a repair center right in Aurora.
Yeah, actually, I was going to show that. So we do have a pretty large place, a service center up in Aurora. Of course, Gasvoda has a complete test bed. I think you guys can do up like 100 horsepower or something like that. They've actually got a wet pit that they can test submersible pumps, and obviously have a complete service team there. And Grundfos, when they can't get to stuff, we can help out as well. We have service trucks, crane trucks that come out too. So, I mean, if you do have service stuff that like you're overwhelmed or it's too big or, you know, what have you, then reach out to the Gasvoda folks. And so we don't really have any sludge pumps, like any rotary lobe style pumps or progressive cavity type of pumps. We don't get into that. So I do have, if it's of interest in the future, I do have a trailer that I can bring over here.
Not the one you listed.
It's a pretty nice trailer. I mean, maybe I might. I don't know. You know? It's got a generator. I can have some. It's got LED lighting in it. And maybe. But I do have the ability, like if you have a service garage we could do something like this in a service garage, and we can tear down an SL pump. So it's got a hoist. We can basically take a pump tear it down, talk about the benefits of one of the SL pumps, and then put it all back together. You guys can actually do it, put the seals back in, put the impeller back in. So that's pretty cool. We can do that and spend probably hour and a half, 2 hours if you want to do some sort of setup like that in the future. I know we're coming into winter months, so I don't know what the ability of being able to maybe pull it into a heated garage would be. Yeah. Any other questions? That's really all I have. I don't know if Hunter or Kurt or you guys have anything else. Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.